Good day to everyone. It's been a while, and we're back. This is CJ Sena, Let's Talk Retail podcast host and PRA thought leader. Um, we missed you. We've been with Chan. We had a hiatus. We went on break for a few months. We focused our energy on the very successful um, conference, and now we're back with Let's Talk Retail Season 6. The first two episodes were the new faces of retail. And our next episodes for this season will still feature the new faces of retail. Very exciting, multi generational because most of them are millennials, and me, a baby boomer, talking to them is very exciting. But for this episode and the next one, we are going to be entering a different field, a field of beauty, creativity, and inclusive storytelling. And what is what is better than to have to kick off this episode with our guests who will guide us to this industry that is both fascinating but also very competitive. All right? Please don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Spotify. Great little minds think alike, and that's how you stay connected on YouTube and Spotify. So let's get this conversation going. Joining us is the co-founder and creative director of Issy Cosmetics, one of the most innovative and influential Filipino beauty brands making waves in the industry today. From his roots in Baguio City to leading design at major fashion houses like Oxygen and Folded and Hang, his journey is all about pushing boundaries, the, um, both visually and culturally. At Issy, he's the creative force behind products and campaigns that aren't just trend setting, they're trailblazing, especially when it comes to representation and authenticity. If you've ever been inspired by beauty that feels bold, inclusive, and intentional, chances are he had something to do with it. So sit back, relax, get that cup of coffee, and get ready for a conversation filled with creativity, purpose, and the power of telling stories through beauty. Let's welcome Joel Martin Andrade, co-founder and chief creative director of Issy Cosmetics. Hello, Joel.
Hi, CJ. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to wave because this is a
It's
podcast.
okay. No, no problem.
But
Yes, yes, yes.
for people
Hello.
listening via Spotify, I am waving. And oh my God, you see items. Thank you so much for patronizing CJ.
Surprise.
Oo nga I was not prepared. You've really done your homework.
Yes. Tell us about your journey from Baguio City to designing for Oxygen and Folded and Hang. And now was co-founder of EC and Co. in the cosmetics industry, plus being creative lead for Lucky Beauty and Popik. Please share your journey and describe your key lessons.
All right. So, my journey is a little long kasi I mean, ang raming na-mention na brands all together.
Yes.
But um, I think I have the story of that provincial person who wanted to make it big in the city, 'di ba? And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people could relate to kasi I grew up in Baguio and for the longest time, I carried this mindset na ang liit, this town is too small for me. Like, I remember vividly talaga being young and thinking na parang, alam mo, the people, I mean, by no means is it wrong or like, am I looking down on people who stay? Pero
Yeah.
parang when you see people there na parang tipong, you know, they grow up there, they study there, they work there, they marry there, they die there. Parang a part of me felt like parang yun na yun, 'di ba? So I've always had that mentality nga na this town is too small for me. And also the ideas that I had, I knew would be met with resistance in the Philippines in general na nga, ano pa
Yeah.
among provincial mindset. Right? So when I moved naman na to Manila, hence why it triggered me to move to Manila for college. And then I studied 1 year sa University of Santo Tomas, Conservatory of Music. Actually,
Music.
yes, and it was pointed out why, but like so left field. So I used to play the violin. Tapos the reason why I studied Conservatory of Music was kasi if I studied Conservatory of Music, that course wasn't offered in Baguio. So
Okay.
it was a strategic move to move myself to Manila. And my parents kasi were frustrated musicians, so they would support my music career. So nung nandito na ako sa Manila, little did they know, I was applying myself to fashion school na. So parang it's kind of
Okay.
like, okay, the first hurdle is to get to Manila. So I did a course that they would like na hindi ko makukuha
Okay.
sa Baguio. Now I'm in Manila. Okay, apply ka sa fashion school without telling them. So, ganun siya. It's like, binambuzled ko basically yung parents ko in order to shift my life to Manila. And I guess it's still a testament to how I am now na medyo long game ako mag-isip. You know, it's not, sometimes kasi in business, diba, it's not always a direct path. Sometimes you
Right.
have to take, you know, parang turns, dips, and also like mga sideways directions to get to the destination that you're trying to get to. And then when I was in Manila na, yung mindset na parang this town is too small for me, nag-shift into watch me, I'm going to make something of myself here. Parang, and which is, I think, such a provincial person's mindset. Di ba? Na parang, dahil hindi ka taga Manila, prove ko sa inyo. Na parang, ano ko, you know, I'm worthy.
Competitive.
Competitive. Kasi, di ba, parang you don't want to go back home. Di ba? Pero if your life isn't any better than what it was in the province, it doesn't make sense to stay. Right? So, ayun nga, I studied Conservatory of Music before I eventually shifted into fashion. Pero nakakatawa kasi when I went to fashion school na, I ended up dropping out kasi everything that they were teaching, I kind of have already self-taught myself. So technically, I am a college dropout. Ayun. Tapos,
Okay.
because college dropout ako, I couldn't get a job. Kasi nga, lalo na nung time no, when I was starting out, you know, degree, I think up to this point, is still very much a requirement, di ba? Parang tipong, even before they call you for an interview, pagka wala kang diploma, you're passed out na agad. You're sifted ng HR, right? So, because I couldn't get a job in the field that I wanted, um, hindi ko alam how, ano pa rin, common ngayon na first job to. I ended up getting na lang a call center job as my first job. So, my first job was a, you know, basically a customer service representative for a Australian telecommunications company. Tapos, nakakatawa lang kasi thinking about it, totoo yung sinasabi niya that your first job is really the most, what do you call this? Impactful, or I guess the most parang pinaka nagmo-mold sa'yo. And the reason why I could say that about my call center job is it taught me the biggest lesson of my life, the clarity on what I didn't want to be doing. 'Di ba? So parang,
Okay.
and I think, ano sabi ko nga, sobrang valuable na lesson kasi if you understand what you're not for, everything that you do na moving forward is something towards where your parang values or your parang self wants to be aligned. So, I don't treat my time sa call center as a parang sayang, you
Yeah.
know, and all. I treat it as the most parang, what they call this, the most valuable lesson na parang every time that I was, you know, when I eventually got to the industry, every time that I was tired, iniisip ko lang sa sarili ko, and would you rather be tired or would you rather be back answering calls? Diba? So parang it kind of, ano, it up to now, every time na parang, you know, you face a challenge or parang yung nafe-feel mo parang ano ka na, you'd remind yourself na parang, 'di ba, parang this is kind of like ano, parang this is the industry you wanted to work in and all. And parang I think if you were to look at yourself when you started back then, you'd be so proud of yourself. So don't give up now. Parang ganun siya, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, going back,
Yeah.
call center is my first job. Um, I remember pa dun sa batch ko, I was the only tawag nila call center virgin kasi my account normally people would need experience already kasi it was an Australian account. Tapos pero ako given you know that I speak you know good English. Tapos ito yung mga same day hiring pa when it was a thing. You know, you just entered and then you got out with a job offer quickly. And just another idea, side note, the reason why then I went to that job was I just got rejected from a fashion job that I wanted. And like,
Okay.
I needed a win. I kept not getting jobs. And I don't understand because I'm so passionate. I was willing to work. Pero because ng, oh, you didn't graduate, fall ka sa list. So parang I needed a win. I needed to feel like at least I could get a job. So that's why I took the call center role. And then while I was in the call center, dahil nga it was like draining every life force out of me, it kind of lit a fire to actually land and find a job that I wanted. My first design job was really for Folded and Hung. So it's Adenip Inc. Pa yung before yung ano niya company. And I started from I think the very bottom talaga as like a junior designer, and then eventually working my way up. And then tawag mo dito, after nun, of course I left Folded and Hang to go join Golden ABC. Shout out to Miss Alice, my the
Okay.
president of the PRA and my former employer, and she also interviewed me actually for the job. So from Folded and Hung, I went to OXGN. I was part of the team that kind of revamped Oxygen to OXGN to what it is
Right.
now, right now. And ayun talaga, eventually, really stepping on the ladder from junior designer to parang design supervisor to creative lead. Talagang dinaanan ko yung gamot nung corporate ladder. And then, um, basically I had a good friend, and my good friend si Jasmine,
Yeah.
who is also the co-founder of Issy, just had a crazy idea of launching a makeup brand. And honestly, we were two kids, parang naively, gawa tayong brand. 'Di ba? What do we have to lose? Tapos ano, and I think nga in hindsight, going back at it, I might not have done it if I knew how much work there was to building a brand. And I feel like makarelate dito most of our retailer viewers, friend.
Yeah.
Honestly, your first job, you have no idea what the hell you're getting into. Parang akala mo na, oh, it's gonna be simple. I'm so ready for this. But boy, you're never ready for what, basically a business owner or entrepreneur's life would turn you into. Parang ganyan. So yeah, nagkaroon lang siya ng crazy idea of, opening a beauty brand. And ako naman, the ever risk taker, I moved lang to Manila, I dropped out of
Yeah.
fashion school, like, something lang in my gut was telling me, this is gonna be big. And parang with that gut feel rin lang, I decided to, leave my employer, sila Miss Alice, basically, without any assurance that this was gonna work. Pero sabi ko kasi I'm still young. And now that I'm young, I can afford but to make mistakes. So, I risk it na. Kasi sabi ko, worst comes to worst, I can always go back to employment naman. But thank God it worked out. And now, I'm not only handling Issy, which is what we launched. Now, I'm also, the creative force also behind Lucky Beauty, and also the newest brand that we launched this year lang, Popic also. So, ayun, I think my journey to sum it all up has been about staying hungry, staying curious, and proving to yourself that I can create something meaningful. And also I think ano rin, my story is also the firm proof of like risk taking really pays off. Kasi if I just stayed in Baguio, none of these brands would have happened. If I stayed lang in, for example, sa employment, I wouldn't be able to make it in this brand. So parang alam mo yun, I think my story is really about putting yourself out there and really parang taking a risk.
But there seems to be a lot of adversity that you went through, right? Then you also had this big, there's a bigger world out there. So there's passion. That's what I'm picking up from
Mm,
your journey. So it's not been easy, but because you're still young, you still took that risk, and it was all a leap of faith, correct?
mm. I think kasi, you owe it to yourself to try things. I think this is more of an attitude, or
Sure.
like, it's not something premeditated na parang tipong, nothing is guaranteed in life, right?
Right.
But I think one thing that I can guarantee you happening is nothing will happen if you don't try. So I think I have that deep in my mindset. And even with how I approach beauty with Issy now is nothing is guaranteed. Is this gonna sell? Is this gonna work out? Is this gonna, is this gonna bring us to the next level? Pero how will you know if you don't try? And I think knowing that fundamentally, even pa as a child, na parang, if I don't leave Baguio, how will I know? Di ba? Parang, I think that's been such a guiding force lang talaga. And I don't know where it comes from, pero I think, ewan ko talaga, I mean, I'm the type of person kasi na parang, I want to try to jump off a plane. I want to, like, I think trying things makes you more aware. And the more aware you are, the more then I think you're able to calculate things and ano. Kasi nothing teaches you like experience talaga. So I think yun yung thing ko in life is I'd rather experience it if kasi I think this is the best way that I can frame it, no? Failure is only a failure if you don't learn from it. Kasi if you learn from it, it's a lesson. So,
Okay.
yon, I think ganun siya, I think, na
Yes,
parang I'm
that
a
in a
person,
nutshell, no?
in a
You're not afraid to
nutshell,
make mistakes, and mistakes are learning experiences.
exactly, diba? If you
Okay.
repeat them again, that's a
Ah,
mistake. Ayun, I think if you're not afraid to make a mistake, that's when you learn. And when you learn kasi, dun na I think ka na-enrich so much.
okay. Let's go to you said you had a good friend who became your business partner and you had this
Mm.
crazy idea. So, do you think friends are good to be business partners? If yes, why? If no, why also?
To give you an idea, when we started Issy talaga, and even up to now, it's a business filled with close connections. So I definitely think there's merit to working with people you know and people you trust. But
Okay.
there are definitely challenges, right? So I can't give an absolute yes or no.
Sige. But on
But
your from your experience.
I think what I could give is it's a case to case basis depending on the person you're dealing with.
All right.
I've I've been burned such as I've also been delighted. Alam mo yon. So, I think ano number one I think is dapat very important is naiintindihan nyo na when you're working together, you yung dynamic nyo dapat nag-shift. You know, parang yes, we're friends outside, pero right now I'm opposing you not because I'm not your friend. I'm opposing you because as the person you've put here or as a person here in this like, role, I don't see it as the right decision. Tapos I think kasi in particularly to our business, the beauty of having friends as people you work with is you really can be honest. And in that honesty, in that radical honesty, you're able to compromise. Kasi the reason why people are opposed to certain things is everyone's looking out for something. You know, like in my case with Jasmine, Jasmine is my our finance operations logistics person. Ako naman yung creativity,
Okay. So,
vision
so
and all.
you've divided the
We've
the
divided
function.
talaga. We've divided the left and the right brain, so to speak, 'di ba?
All right.
In when may time na conflict na talagang hindi nagma-match masyado yung right and left brain, what happens is that, dahil we can be honest with each other, hindi kami nagkakahiyaan kasi we've already been closest. Sometimes, there would be like parang tampuhan, disagreements, ganyan. Pero at the end of the day, we realize kasi na, oh, kaya siya ganito kasi may pinoprotect rin siya. Right? Sa case ko, I love to spend, marketing ako eh. 'Di ba? Pero kailangan natin maintindihan yung side niya na why she won't, 'di ba? Why she can't just give me and all kasi she's balancing the books. Pero in through that parang tawag mo dito dahil friends kami, kaya niya maging honest about me, hindi siya mahihiya sa akin. Or 'di ba? Or ako rin naman sa kanya is bilang friend ko siya, iintindihan ko yung side niya and then you find a way to get things done within her budget. Something like that. So, unlike kasi napapansin ko, if, I mean, yun yung I think pinaka-merit ng working with friends is alam nyo fundamentally na parang okay kayo and like you want the best for each other. 'Di ba? And even if you don't agree with each other, alam ninyo na parang you're both protecting the business, the brand, kasi that both means something to you. 'Di ba? So, I think kasi pag minsan pagka, stranger siya or someone you don't know, mas parang hindi mo alam ay a little bit parang what drives them also. 'Di ba? So I think yun yung beauty of working with people you know. Like fundamentally, alam mo na parang um hindi siya personal. It's ano lang.
Okay. Did you ever get to the point of FO, friendship over?
Actually, the funny thing is, there are people that I've taken in here, hindi nag-work out, but we're still okay after. Kasi nga, I always put the precedent before someone starts working for me, na old colleague, old friend, na parang
Yeah.
tipo, whatever happens here during work is a work thing. 'Di ba? Kasi parang for example, I can be totally your friend, pero at this time when you're clocked in, you know, I'm I'm the person, I'm in parang may I don't know if it's my theater background then na parang tipong it's a role that I have to play, 'di ba? And I think we're adults enough, like I think yun naman sinasabi ko sa kanila, kailangan na-accept nyo yun before you work for me kasi I can't be your friend and your boss at the same
Right.
time.
So
Those
you're
are
more objective as a boss, di ba?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. 'Di ba? Pati ano kasi, and even when with Jasmine as a business partner, alam mo yon parang tipong I can't be agreeable all the time kasi it's not what the role calls for eh. I think yun yung beauty na parang because I'm really your friend, I'm gonna do a great job. And sometimes me doing great job is me countering you. 'Di ba? So, pero yun nga eh, I think kasi at the end of the day, we know how good we are as friends kahit ano. So far, happy ako. Wala, to answer the question is simple, wala pa na yung FO. And
Okay. But the,
nakakatawa, pero I think when it's not working, I tell them, uy, mukhang hindi nag-work. Baka hindi tayo meant to work together. Pero after nun, we're still friends after that. And I think they also agree kasi, you know, friction is something, or parang chemistry is something that, you
yeah,
know,
it's
parang
important.
people really
Yeah.
have. Exactly. So,
Yeah.
and I think there's no, I think walang disservice in telling your friends, honestly, girl, we're good friends, but I don't think we're compatible working. 'Di ba? So,
It's
and vice versa rin, hindi naman lahat ng people that I am really good friends with, pinapasok ko rin.
yeah.
There's also, I think, you know, you also have to parang, I think, learn na parang, hindi porket close friend mo siya, pwede mo siya maging ka-work, and hindi porket ka-work mo siya, pwede mo rin siya gawing close friend. So, I think it's a case-to-case basis, and yun nga,
Okay.
'di ba? Talagang depending siya on the person eh. Pero I think if you have a healthy conversation at the start before
Yeah.
working together, it is really possible to create, a meaningful business partnership with the
The,
friendship back.
the reason why I spent time on partnerships and friendship and partnerships because we do have listeners who are entrepreneurs and who may want to be looking at the next venture, working with a friend, working with a business, or just a regular business partners. I need to get your insights on that. All right,
Yes.
that done. I'd like to talk about Issy. Yeah, I'd like to
Mm.
talk about this brand of yours. All right. In a sea of cosmetic brands, both global and homegrown, how does Issy make a difference? What segment are you talking to? What generation are you talking to? What makes
Uh,
you better than the others?
More
Yeah,
recently, sobrang naging mas competitive ang beauty industry. I think,
correct.
to give you an idea, when we launched back 5 years ago, I could count all my competitors. Now, bigla na lang out of nowhere, indie brands start popping
Yes,
up,
yes,
di
that's
ba?
right.
You know, which is number one, a good thing kasi it means retail is, technically really
Thriving. Yeah,
thriving. And kaya nga parang to be honest, rather than ma-threaten ako, natutuwa ako kasi it just really shows if so many players can come in, I think we all know this fundamentally, competition really drives innovation.
all right.
Competition also really, kasi I think recently there was BeautyCon, no? With Watsons. All the beauty brands were gathered together. And I had a panel discussion with my competitors. Tapos we
Okay,
all,
how was that experience?
ayun, we all agreed to some extent na parang we're thankful for one another. Kasi if one of us gets a person into makeup, they're now all our target market.
Okay.
'Di ba? So, I really feel like, honestly, tawag ko dito, hindi ko alam if I've lost na the train of thought, but basically, marami na. Sobrang rami namin ngayon. And marami pa. 'Di ba? So, with your point, how do we stand out? I think it's because we design with intention. And what do we mean by we design with intention? Hindi siya, I don't really believe na parang we create products just to keep up with market's demands or what the market wants. Sometimes nga, we try to create that demand for ourselves. Like, for example, nung nag-start kami, there was a real need for inclusivity. Kasi, to be honest, when we started, I couldn't find my shade. Like,
Okay.
when we started 5 years ago, the norm was to do three shades of foundation. And those three shades were normally fair, light, and then, as a joke, fairer. Alam mo yun? Yung parang, for some
Yung
reason, yung
gluta
medium,
levels.
oo, or yung medium shade would be yun na yung darkest, tapos lahat kayong pababa, magsama-sama kayo sa medium na shade. But I was, a moreno. I was darker. And parang tipong, what I realized was when I couldn't find my shade and then, you know, brands would be marketing as, oh, universal to, it will work for everyone, ganyan. But, you clearly see it does not work for you. You kind of start thinking in your head na parang, hindi ba ako belong? Hindi ba ako important? There's a certain sense na parang when you don't see your shade in a lineup, it feels as if hindi ba ako nag-exist. Kasi no one's making a product for me. Baka, di ba, it's very alienating. Ganun, no? So, when we started Issy, hindi siya, I wouldn't say na we had that figured out already. Oh, we're gonna revolutionize, we're gonna do that. Pero when I mean that we designed by intention, I wanted to use these products. So I started making products that would work for my skin tone. Tapos ayun, doon na lang nangyari na parang one by one, our products pala was starting to create, um, was starting to create a demand for inclusivity, a demand for ease, a demand for self-expression kasi I could not express myself with what I had. And then ease-wise, hindi naman ako magaling mag-makeup. So I needed products that, were easy to use for someone who's not, a makeup artist or something like that. So parang basically, doon namin nahon yung philosophy ng Issy. Kaya Issy name namin. Now, when beauty feels
Oo,
easy,
okay. Easy as in
yes.
madali.
Yes, oo. Pero kasi I
Okay.
really didn't want rin the idea of Issy na madali lang. I think that's a very limited and parang sobrang kindergarten na parang, ay, easy, easy. No,
Okay.
the deeper idea behind it is when beauty feels easy, self-expression comes naturally. 'Di ba? Kasi kung andaling, kunyari, andaling maglagay ng lipstick na yun yung kulay na ano mo, when ang daling maglagay ng foundation na kakulay mo kasi yung balat, hindi mo kailangan do ng tricks to make it work for you. You get to see a better version of yourself or the version of yourself that you want to share to the world. And when you're your best self, you just can express yourself in ways that you couldn't imagine. 'Di ba? There's nakakatawa kasi yung industry namin, even fashion rin, is often seen as industries that are very, what do you call this, flamboyant, or like, for lack of a better term, hindi sila parang deep tingnan, di ba? They're very surface level.
Mababaw,
Mababaw.
self-serving.
Yes.
Self-serving,
Oo.
mababaw. Pero
Vanity lang ang sinaserve niya. Pero what people don't realize is, it's self-care, di ba? In a way,
self-actualization.
yeah.
Self-actualization.
'Di ba? Kasi when you feel good about yourself, it affects everything that you do and everyone around you. And alam mo yun, if it takes one lipstick to make a difference, that's a powerful item. It's a powerful
Yeah.
object. 'Di ba? So, yun yung parang pinaka, I think, reason why Issy can makes a difference towards the other brands. Kasi we have that like philosophy that's never been questioned. Na okay, let's make beauty easy so that self-expression comes naturally. And to your point, na parang who are we targeting and all
Yes.
that, I think that's why ang nag-hit sa amin were the Gen Zs and the young millennials. Kasi by nature talaga, una, I want to use the product trend. And bilang the millennial that I am, na-attract ko yung same people of my
Right.
generation. And at the same time, because our products are all about self-expression, it strikes a young chord with young millennials and Gen Z because they're by nature curious, experimental, and then they really
Okay.
crave authenticity. So I think yung natatap talaga naming market, no, are, the generation that they don't like being told what to do. They'd rather discover and decide.
Right.
They live online, hence why we have such a big online presence for a brand. We don't really invest in mga out of home or yung mga billboards masyado kasi
Right.
alam namin mas glued sila sa phone while nasa traffic sa EDSA, 'di ba? So, but with that said, dapat mas viral kami, shareability, aesthetics matter as much rin kasi parang, they live in that online world so you have to
Right.
really pop there, 'di ba? Tapos they're also conscious. They're conscious about price, they're conscious about sustainability, they're also conscious about representation. Sila yung mga taong kine-question nila, ano ba values ng founder niyan? Ano ba yung ganyan? So, it's a very, I think, um, weirdly enough, I say this all the time to the team, I think we made the brand that we wanted when we were younger. Kasi nung time ko nung bata ako,
Okay.
I didn't have something like Issy, 'di
Right.
ba? So parang I think that's why I think it's so exciting right now. Lalo na for the new generation, we're always telling them, ang swerte ninyo kasi ngayon you have so many options. When I was in high school,
Oo.
yun lang. Kung ano lang makita mo sa shelf sa Watsons, yun lang yun. You had to make it work. But now, they have so much options and also parang I think nga in general, sobrang ganda kung saan papunta ang beauty, lalo na locally, no? Now we're being so much more catering to the Filipino skin tone rather than before following lang international trends. And yun nga, I think to go back lang to that question, that's how Easy makes a difference. Sobrang intentional na for Filipinos yung ginagawa namin.
Okay. So we've talked about the brand, its reason for being, the market it's talking to. Let's pull back and look at the business itself. What were your biggest challenges as you went through the 5 years of your business, and how did you cope with it?
The number one challenge was we launched in November 2019 and then the world closed nung March 2020.
Okay.
I think aside from the new face of beauty or the new faces of retail, that tagline, we could also be a case study on how to, navigate as a starting business a global crisis. Kasi
Right.
we were able talaga to, weirdly enough, I don't want to romanticize what happened at all kasi it
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
terrible time.
Right.
Pero it really, we turned lemons into lemonade. As in,
Okay.
so imagine mo, you launched a brand 2019. Tapos, the way to become a major beauty player was really to enter Watsons. Kasi Watsons is, of course, the, leading and the most, I think, lalo na when it comes to beauty, no, in the Philippines. So parang we were so ready to parang win Watsons and all that, to win Watsons to parang carry our brand, and also we were working to that goal. And then March happens, sarado. Sarado lahat, ganyan. And what I say by we made lemons out of lemonade was, thank God we launched the brand kahit hindi pa with Watsons agad. So we did it online first. Na nangyari was, because we did online first, all the brands that were with, the retailers sa stores,
Yeah. Brick and
sarado.
mortar. Mm-mm.
Brick and mortar, nagsara. And because they didn't believe in online yet during that time, they did not set up their shop. So they needed 6 to 8 months to even a year to be able to set up and then change their business model to also cater online. During that time na nag-recalibrate sila, we were already there. So, di ang nangyari, di ba, during that time, everyone was forced to download Shopee, Lazada, to their
Right.
phones. And guess who was there? Kami na yun. 'Di ba?
Ayun.
So, I think, and what happened was, nung nangyayari to, we kind of like, as much as we knew na parang we'd want to go to retail pa rin eventually, or brick and mortar, ano, ano, we focused talaga on shifting the business to e-commerce first kasi that was where the opportunity was. So, I think yun yung number one, the biggest challenge namin was really parang shifting the perspective of parang mag brick and mortar tayo kasi we are a malling culture. Ganun yung, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Lalo na before the pandemic, talagang no one was buying online. It was so little. Tapos when that, pandemic happened, now more people were learning how to shop online, learning the convenience of it and all. We leaned on it so much. We put our efforts in improving our fulfillment and all para mabilis kami. Tapos talagang before mag-launch, kunyari before yung mga established brands makapag-launch online, we made sure na parang popping na kami doon. Kasi I think what happened was, Ren, you know, dahil new brand rin kami nung time na yon, everyone was excited about something new rather than something that they've seen in the mall. So, talagang I think, parang, pero if we gave up, I think nung start na yon, if we like gave up na parang, wala na Watsons, through the towel, hindi yun hindi kami magta-thrive. And basta I think yung whole point lang talaga is sometimes what you think is a challenge is actually an opportunity. So I
Right.
think yun yung namin, biggest challenge na we turned into an opportunity, no? But aside from that also, we're also highly affected by, of course, supply chain issues, you know, logistics rin. And I think the hardest thing is really, I think for any business, is for people getting to believe in you. 'Di ba? It's a hard thing. And I actually don't remember how we were able to do it. But I think kasi fundamentally when you believe in the products that you do, other people will believe it rin. Kasi ano siya alam mo yung parang no one will believe you just because.
Snowball yan eh. Snowball. Everybody.
Exactly. Tapos it's like one after the other. Talaga ganun. So, ayun, I think that would really be the biggest challenge we face talaga. It's really the global pandemic. I've yet to ano you see another one that papantay dun sa challenge na yon. Pero
Okay.
pero I think rin
That
kasi as your business grows, the challenges become so much more different, 'di ba? Na I think if we were to encounter another crisis like that now, sobrang iba na rin kasi now that my
right.
company's bigger, I'm not
Right.
able to pivot faster. 'Di ba?
Okay. That's a good point. Big now, harder to make that change.
Yes. So I think to answer in that, ano siya I think you have to also be able to assess yung capabilities mo. And sa amin nun, dahil ang small pa namin, we could be agile. 'Di ba?
Yeah.
Na that's how we outsmarted our competition
Right.
back then. Would I be able to do that today at the same pace? Probably not kasi I have bigger quantities, bigger ganun. Pero you can always outsmart something. I think that's also a key learning that I had there. 'Di ba? Ayun.
Okay. Now 5 years from 2019. What is the skew of online business versus brick and mortar business for EC?
Right now, yung nangyari sa amin was we were online and then there became such a demand when the world started to open. Gusto ko talaga matry si Is in person. Ganun sila kasi and valid kasi makeup is, you want a shade match. 'Di ba? So, sa amin, I think, ang maganda na nangyari sa Issy was, we had an organic demand to be physically present. So, when we did open, people did come. Hindi siya yung parang nag-open ka ng store and then, kasi I think we all know it, 'di ba? The biggest challenge for brick and mortar is sa brick and mortar, kung sino lang nasa mall, yun lang yung target audience mo. Right? Versus sa online, anyone could be hit at a moment's notice. So, sa amin, we were lucky enough that we had the demand. So when we said we were opening a shop here, people would go to it. Um, yung sa amin ngayon, in terms of shares, in that we've been opening stores in the past 2 years. Right now, I think we're at 60 locations already. And the share right now is, I think it's around, at an average, it's still 35, 65. Tama ba? Tama ba ang
Thirty-five
computation?
percent online,
No,
65%.
opposite.
Opposite. All right.
65% online and then 35% is brick and mortar.
That's
And ano pa rin, and ano, but we're really working to, level it out kasi eventually you want it to be a nice 50-50 split. But the funny thing is kasi what happens with beauty right now is ginagawa nilang testing station ang physical store mo. So
okay.
they go to the physical store, they shade
Right.
swatch, they try it on, but then they check it out online kasi unang-una they don't have to bit the paper bags. And then
Yeah.
sometimes rin it's just a case of my vouchers kasi online. So
Uh,
it's not a
okay.
linear it's not a linear
Yeah.
path na pero I would say that I think our physical stores also help our online stores. And then
It goes together.
yes, omni-channel talaga siya.
Omni-channel,
Basically.
yes.
Yes, so um yun yung I think, and I think kasi you want to be present at every point that you could be touched on by a consumer. 'Di ba? Kasi totoo rin eh. Alam mo 'yun, parang by being online alone, it has its challenges. Being present lang brick and mortar also has its challenges. By being present in both, you're able to parang leverage on both strengths kasi. So, yeah, yun yung ano namin ngayon. Sometimes it goes higher, sometimes tumataas ang store more than ano, pero in general, I would still say online is the key driver pa. Given din kasi na we have to grow pa with more provinces kasi right now we're being very strategic as how we open stores, as you know naman. Opening stores are quite costly, di ba? So, ayun siya, I think we're being intentional in with all the stores that we're opening. We don't want to also open mindlessly, di ba? I think that's why online rin is, stronger pa rin as of the moment.
Let's do the wind down questions. Let's start off with a crystal ball question. All right. 5 years from now, where do you see the beauty industry, the cosmetics industry going? And how will EC be part of that industry?
Well, uh, honestly, I really believe that Philippine beauty will only get stronger, more global, and even more competitive. Talagang, what do you go? Kasi nakakatuwa kasi from on my end alone I see a lot of parang mga Filipino Americans or like mga half Filipinos would come here, buy local products,
Right.
go up home, and then they would be raving about how is this so affordable, but it outperforms yung mga American
Yeah.
brands or yung mga Western brands.
Right.
And the reason why they outperform them is we live at such a tropical climate country. Now, because it's such a challenge,
Yeah.
our, weather, the products that we do here in the Philippines are quite hardworking. So I think that's why a lot of I think a lot of parang people outside the Philippines are so surprised at how well our products perform under extreme circumstances.
Right.
So I think at some point the world will catch up and see na parang, oh, look at brands from Southeast Asia, like grabe yung performance nila kasi they have such a tricky climate to
Right.
navigate, right? Kasi it's either sobrang pawis ka or sobrang ka mauulanan. So you have to be able to withstand those things. So
Uh,
I really see a future where, Philippine beauty will be defined by really hardworking products. Kasi number one, it's such a difficult, climate and all. And second, rin, our customers have a difficult life. Kung nagko-commute ang customers natin,
right.
they're not from LA who, ride a car because that's the
Right.
way to,
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot of that combination of factors na parang, yung difficult yung climate natin, difficult yung topography natin, difficult ang lives ng kasi they work from etong shift, their makeup has to hold, tas magko-commute pa sila on top of that. And then third, and they work really hard to pay, to buy. So you have to give them products that perform or else they would feel like they're wasting their money. So I think that's why a lot of the formulas that you see, especially here in the Philippines, are super hardworking. Talaga. And I feel like that would be, I think yung parang magiging parang secret sauce ng Filipino beauty. Kasi you know, parang I think yun yung magiging nating what do you call this? reason why we could shoulder to shoulder with other brands kasi or with other international beauty products kasi yung products from the Philippines are so hardworking, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Parang ganon. And I think that's a
If
very interesting way to stand out, I think.
we're going global, the Pinoy cosmetics are going global, sino sa tingin mo ang kalaban mo? Which
Well,
country?
definitely right now, masasabihin ko ang kalaban natin are of course Thai, Vietnam, Indonesia kasi we
Yeah,
all are similar in terms of
right.
and I really enjoy their products as well kasi most likely taga they will work for us kasi we're all in the equator type
Okay.
of
Equator Cosmetic
Yeah, so
Brands.
I think Southeast Asia in general, I think, you know how kind of like, diba, in a way, Japan, Korea, and China have been getting this like renaissance in beauty right now, especially K-beauty ang nagda-drive, diba? Pero nagsispill over to C-beauty in China and J-beauty of Japan. I think sooner or later, people will come na to Southeast Asia talaga. Kasi, how can I say this? Not only in the Philippines, pero Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, grabe ang resurgence ng beauty talaga. And I feel like alam mo yun, there's something so compared pa to our Eastern Asian, neighbors, mas diverse ang shade range dito sa Southeast Asia kasi we have fair of the fair, the, Chinese, but then we also have, really deeper skin tones rin talaga. So talagang, I think compared to, nga, Eastern Asian brands, mas, I think, ready for inclusivity ang Southeast Asia kasi mas malaking gamot natin ng shade range. But
So
yeah,
beauty is not a luxury. It's now a necessity.
yeah, and I think kasi, I think it should never be a luxury kasi I think beauty is truly something na parang subjective. 'Di ba? Hindi siya, and I think that's why as beauty brands, we have a responsibility to show that beauty can mean a gamut of things. 'Di ba? Hindi, and I think yun yung sa amin sa Issy na dito ko na to ilalagay. What is Issy's role in Philippine beauty in the next 5 years? I want to be part of that shift. We really aim to keep pushing creativity, inclusivity. And I think sa amin, number one is um hindi ako gumagamit ng like number one, I think that I will not touch on talaga is whitening. I think
Okay.
I think we all know this, 'di ba? That our industry promotes unhealthy, sometimes even dangerous beauty standards, 'di ba? And naniniwala ako na being part of the new generation of brands is we have to start thinking now the images that we put out, the campaigns we put out, the products we release, all either break or help, to continue these mindsets flourish. So with Issy talaga, yung whole idea namin is parang to really be able to, kasi, di ba, we called a beauty brand. I think sa Philippines in general, we're starting pa lang to understand that beauty can mean so much more. Ngayon kasi ang pagkakaintindi natin sa beauty, pretty. 'Di ba?
Okay.
Pretty. And I think pretty is beautiful, but it's not the only meaning of beauty, 'di ba? Beauty can be edgy, beauty can be weird, beauty can be unique, beauty can be Na yun yung goal ko sa Issy, na parang buksan yung wider perspective. Maganda rin pala to. Maganda pala ako kahit morena ako. Maganda pala ako kahit hindi ako, you know, parang size 2. Kind of like that. Na parang I think yun yung job namin as the new generation to parang be able to represent what beauty should mean in the next years to come. And hopefully, someone hearing this podcast, someone seeing what we do sa Issy, would continue that with their own brand. Diba? Ganon na parang, kasi it's never once, like, as much as we do our part, we can't do it alone. So I need more people to continue rin with that mindset of and I think that's how talagang makikilala rin ang Filipino beauty by us really, embracing our color. Hindi yung we're pretending to be whiter than we are, not pretending to be, di ba? Kasi parang, how can you call it authentically Filipino na beauty when, di ba, pang-Koreana yung color range or something. So, I
Right.
think, yun lang talaga. That's really the vision, I think, I have in the next 5 years, no? Filipino beauty
Okay.
would get more recognition, but at the same time, we can only get there if we truly represent ourselves in a way that's meaningful as Filipinos.
So there's global and there's changes in the way we look at beauty.
Yes.
Right. Okay, last three questions. So what would be your advice to budding entrepreneurs, those who want to join the cosmetics industry?
I think, ano, the best, even up to now, my secret question is when I don't know what to do. I start with a
Okay.
strong why.
All
Why will
right.
I release
Yes.
this? Why will I do this? 'Di ba? Kasi it's so easy to get lost in trends, in like, um, especially when you're looking at the competition. 'Di ba? Parang, ang daling, ang daling masama eh. Ang daling maano. Pero you have to stop and ask yourself, why should I do this? Why am I releasing this and all? Kasi when you start asking the question why, you start to build something that feels indispensable. Kasi there's a strong grounding reason for doing it. And also, siguro, another advice is don't wait for perfect. Perfect does not exist.
Okay.
'Di ba? Like, launch, learn, adjust, but keep refining. Like, kasi if I waited for the perfect time, I wouldn't have launched Issy kasi there's always something wrong.
Yeah.
'Di ba? So
Yeah.
I think yung isang advice ko is if you want to do something, start doing it now. And do it in the means that you can. Pero once nagawa mo siya, you'd be surprised. You'll always just end up refining it to the kasi like I said, 'di ba? If I didn't leave Baguio, I wouldn't have done anything. So parang wala, just do it. Kasi parang you're by not doing it, mas lalong walang nangyayari.
Okay. Take inspiration from Nike. Just do it.
Yes, just
All
do it
right.
talaga.
Okay. So looking back to your 21-year-old self and what you know now, what will you tell that young boy from Baguio? What would you tell him now?
Well, I would tell my old self na una, thank God you left Baguio. Kasi by
All
that
right.
time, I was already in Manila eh. I left
Yeah.
Baguio at 18, I think.
Yeah.
So, pero at the same time, I wish I would tell my younger self to be patient. Na success is not linear. You know, I could have saved so many tears kasi, parang every disappointment, little did I know was a really good lesson that I have in my arsenal now. Trust your instincts, which I still do to this very day. And at the same time is, I think don't be afraid to ask for help. Kasi,
Don't be
I,
afraid to ask for help.
yeah, kasi, I mean, my business partner and I, di ba, parang, I think a lot of people think na parang it takes one person or one CEO, one to ano, but no, beneath me is a team of people I asked help for. Di ba? So,
True.
parang ganun. I think we don't talk about this as much. So, parang even as leaders ng company namin, um, I remember there was an ano ha, I'll segue a little bit. There was a student applying for an internship. Tapos nakakita niya ako in person. Tapos sinabi niya, oh, it's so lucky po to get to work for you. And I had to correct that person. No, I'm so lucky that people work for me kasi they see value in the crazy ideas I find. So I think yun lang yung parang pinopoint out ko na parang don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to parang tell people what you need out of them. Kasi communication is so important. Na parang you can't expect people to give you things without you asking for it. And di ba totoo naman yun eh, ask and you shall receive. So I think a lot of us kasi parang namimystify tayo na, ay, hindi ako help. I won't ask for help. I'm gonna do this on my own. Girl, help is so but it's knowing to ask for help in the right way,
Right.
asking for the and you can't expect naman other people to do the job for you, 'di ba?
Right.
But ayun, I think if I was not siguro as shy pa or trying to prove that I can do everything on my own, baka I was here na sa position na to even faster, 'di ba?
Last two questions. What keeps you awake at night, Joel?
So, I think the thing that keeps me awake the most is really thinking about what's next. I think that's inevitable pagka meron kang brand kasi we all know that you have to keep your brand relevant, diba? And especially with beauty na it's such a fast changing market. Alam mo yon, hindi I think everyone's trying to come up with the most innovative, the most novel thing. So, how do you keep yourself relevant but at the same time stay true to yourself? I think that's really what keeps me awake most of the time at night, diba? And yeah, so I think that's it.
So we talked about what keeps you awake at night. We talked about Nike, just do it. Sabi naman ng Nescafe, para saan ka gumigising tuwing umaga, Joel?
Mm. I think given I work so much with my friends and family, it's really because of my team. Alam mo yon, my employees and the people who built this brand alongside me are the reason why I get up every day. And I know it's such a sappy answer, pero kasi,
No,
you
but it's
know,
from the heart.
I know, pero kasi I think when you realize that what you're building, ano, so many people are also dependent on it already. It becomes bigger than you. Because there are days, especially as an entrepreneur, sasabihin ko na yan,
Yeah.
there are
Yes.
days that you don't want to go to work. There are days that parang you're so tired. Pero the thing that keeps you pushing despite all that like resistance from your personal self is other people already. Kasi you know that, kailangan mong bumangon, kailangan mong pumunta sa work kasi other people's jobs, livelihoods, families are also dependent on you performing. So when you realize that what you're carrying is not your weight alone, but the weight of an entire organization, tingnan ko na lang kung hindi ka mapabangon at pumunta sa office. And they're really the ones who push me, no? Inspire me,
That's right.
and remind me why we do what we do. 'Di ba? Sabi nga 'di ba nung Nescafe ad that you said, 'di ba? Very iconic, one of the best I think advertising lines ever, yung para saan ka bumabangon. It's really for them. And at the same time, sama ko na rin siguro yung community that we've built. Every time rin na napapagod na kami na parang na in a way, parang we feel like parang wala na kaming magagawa more. We're reminded when I see customers telling me they really feel confident, they feel empowered because of Issy. Okay. That's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. So I think that's why I love rin going to the stores and sometimes asking customers who are shopping.
Right.
Kasi parang it keeps you, sometimes kasi when you're alone lang sa office, you kind of forget na so many people have a relationship with your brand na parang, ayun. So I think that's what, those are the two things that keep me, make me wake up, my team, and then the people who believe in us. Talaga.
Very good answers. And thank you so much from speaking from the heart, Joel. Okay, that was a wrap on an inspiring episode of Let's Talk Retail. A huge thank you to Joel for sharing his very exciting trip from Baguio to fashion and now to
Beauty.
Easy. All
Yes.
right. So, as we've heard today, beauty is more than just skin deep. It's storytelling, representation, and empowerment. And with leaders like Joel at the helm, the future of Filipino beauty is bold, inclusive, and brilliantly original. Thank you, Joel, for joining us. And this is CJ Asana, your host for Let's Talk Retail podcast and PRA Thought Leader. And I hope you enjoyed our conversation today, filled with honesty, inclusivity, and it was a beautiful one. Thank you. Follow us on YouTube and Spotify. Good day and see you in the next episode.